Today we'll be learning about this specular reflection, which is also known as the Phong model. So what is the specular reflection means? Specular reflection means the bright spot. The bright spot, we'll call it as the specular reflection. You can see these kind of reflection on the uh, shiny surfaces. On the shiny surfaces, you can see this bright spot, or which we call it as the specular reflection. So how this will happen means whatever light is incident on that surface, that entire light will get reflected at that region. So if you take this as a region, so whatever light is falling on the surface, so around this region given by some angle, all the light is getting reflected. So this we will call it as the specular reflection angle. So here what it is happening means, so some light is falling on this surface, and whatever light is falling on that surface, it is getting reflected. Not like it is not the complete reflection, at least almost complete. You can take it as the almost complete reflection. So these kind of surfaces we will call it as the specular reflection surfaces, and and the angle we will call it as the specular angle. Okay, so um, see, this is regarding the specular reflection. So now you can see the image. You can see an image. You can see an image. You can see the image which is on the top side of this, which are highlighted by a tick mark. So this will show us what this image is giving means it is giving us the direction of this specular reflection for some position, and here the reflection angle will equal the angle of incident light. So here you can see that. So if you take this as the reflected, right? See, the angle is same on the left hand side of this vector n, on the right hand side of this vector n, it is getting reflected by the same thing. So um, the specular reflection angle is equaling the angle of incidence. So here the two angles are measured on the opposite side. The two angles are measured on the opposite sides of unit normal vector. So unit normal surface vector. So that is on the left hand side of n and on the right hand side of n. So you can see that angle theta. So here this is the unit normal surface vector which is represented by n. R represents um, the direction of this is r represents the vector. R represents the vector unit. See, every vector is in terms of unit only. Unit vector in the direction of ideal specular reflection. So r represents the unit vector in the direction of ideal specular um, thing, like ideal specular reflection in the direction of that. And L represents the unit vector. L represents the unit vector towards the point source, that is the towards the light point source, that is the light which is in the form of a point. And this vector v is towards the viewer. The vector v is a unit vector towards the viewer. If someone is standing here, so this is the unit vector towards that viewer, and this is the angle relative to the specular reflection. And this angle phi is there, no, and this angle phi is the viewing angle for the viewer with respect to the specular reflection. So if you are standing in front of a mirror, so whatever light is falling on that surface, it is getting reflected. Whatever light is falling on that surface, it is getting reflected in this direction only. So in that case, so this V and R will coincide where phi is equal to 0. The angle between R and V will be 0. So in case of mirrors, you know that whatever light is falling, that will get reflected in the specular direction only. So when that scenario will happen means when the angle between these two vectors, vector R, which is the unit vector direction for ideal specular reflection, and this is a unit vector direction towards the viewer. So when the angle between them is 0, then we can say that in case of mirror, that is what happens. The angle between these two V and R will be 0. So so mirror is an mirror. You can call it as an ideal reflector. Mirror, you can call it as an ideal reflector. The example of ideal reflector. So other than this ideal reflectors, they will also exhibit this specular reflection. So other than mirrors, also some objects will exhibit this specular reflection over a finite range, which you can see here. See here, when the surface is shiny, the region of specular reflection will be very small. When the surface is very dull, the region of specular reflection will be very high. So other than mirrors, so for the mirror case, the angle between R and V will be 0. Other than mirror also, we have some objects that will reflect the light um, over a range of like over some finite range around this vector R. So it will also, other objects also will reflect light around this vector called R. So shiny surfaces have a small value for all. So shiny surfaces will have a small range, but the dull surfaces will have a wider reflection range. So um, small shiny surfaces have small range, dull surfaces have large range. So how do you calculate this range? So model was this model for developing. See this model for calculating this specular reflection. So this model for calculating the specular reflection range was developed by Fong. It was developed by a person by name Fong. So that's why the model name. Hence, we call this model as the Fong model. So it will calculate the the specular reflection range. So, and this was developed by a person called Fong. That's why we will call this as the Fong model. So so now we know why we got this range Fong model. So what this Fong model will do means, see this Fong model will set the intensity. It will check the intensity. It will set the intensity of. It will check the intensity of specular reflection with proportional to cos cos angle. So here it will here this model will calculate, or it will set the intensity of the specular reflection with proportional to cos value, with proportional to the cosine angle. So you know that phi means the angle between R and V. You know that the phi means it is the angle between R and V, and the value of phi will be in the range of 0 to 90 degree and 0 to 90 degree. And for shiny surfaces, this value of ns, the for shiny surfaces, this value of ns will be large, and for dull surfaces, the value of this ns will be small. So that is written here also. So what this Fong did means, he developed a model which sets the intensity of the specular reflection proportional to this formula cos phi. So this is cos phi. No, this is cos phi power ns. So some exponent value. So here the phi can range from the angle phi can range from 0 to 90 degree. So the value of cos phi will be, so if it is the phi is ranging from 0 to 90 degree means cos phi will be from 0 to 1. So cos 0 is 1 and cos 90 is 0. So that will be the range of this cos value. And we have one more component called ns. This ns component, we will call it as specular reflection exponent. We will call this as a specular invention reflection exponent. So it is determined by the type of the surface. So for shiny surfaces, the value of this specular reflection exponent will be large, and for dull surfaces, the value of this ns will be very, very small. So, and for mirrors, the value of this ns will be infinite. The value of this ns will be infinite value. And if for some rough surfaces, the value of this ns will be equal to or near to 1. So near to 1. So this is regarding the Phong model. So the Phong model is taking some equations like cos alpha of NF, where it is the reflection exponent component. For shiny surfaces, NS will be large. For dull surfaces, NS will be small. And for reflectors, NS will be infinite. And if it is as a rough surface, means it will be nearly equal to 1. And this cos phi will range from 0 to 90 degree. So that's why the value of this cos 90 or the cos phi will be 0 to 1. So now, um, this is regard. So this is regard. So this is regarding. So this is regarding the Phong model. So now you can see. Now you can see the effect. Now you can see the effect. Now you can see the effect of. Now you can see the effect of that specular exponent, specular reflection exponent ns over this distribution. So the you can see the effect of ns on the angular range for which you can expect the specular reflection. See, when ns is here ns is equal to 1, here ns is equal to 8, here ns is equal to 64, here ns is equal to 64, and here uh, ns is equal to 128 and ns is equal to 256. So for different values, so um, here we are checking it's a graph, it's a graph of cos phi, it's a graph of that Phong model cos phi of ns versus the angle, so you can see for the five different values, of ns is equal to 1, ns is equal to 8, ns is equal to 64, 128, 256. You're getting this graph. So this graph will give us, it will give us the effect of ns on the angular range for the specular reflection. So here, two things to keep in mind: the intensity of the specular reflection depends on the angle of incidence as well as the property of the surface, so in addition to these two things, you can also consider additional factors like polarization and the color of the incident light also you can consider. So for example, if you're up, see, you can, for example, you can model the monochromatic, specular intensity variation by using a coefficient called W of theta. So this we will call it as specular reflection coefficient for each of the surfaces. Here also the theta will range from, 0 to 90 degree, 0 to 90 degree. So that this is a plot of theta versus specular reflection coefficient. You can see that as the angle increases, as the value of theta increases, for glass also, as theta increases, W of theta will be coming close to 1, and for the gold also, as the angle increases, it is moving towards 1. For the silver also, this is for the silver material, this is for the gold material, this is for the glass. So you can see that as the angle of incidence theta increases, um, all the light is getting reflected. So that is given by W of theta. So W of theta means whatever light is being incident, that is getting reflected. So that you can see from this graph also. You can see. So as the angle of incidence is getting as the angle of incidence is getting increased, whatever light is incident on that, that is getting reflected. So um, now the variation of this specular intensity. So now the variation of intensity on the angle of incidence on the angle of incidence is governed by Fresnel law of reflection. So if there is a Fresnel law of reflection which will govern this, the variation of intensity versus the angle of incidence. That can be written as I. See, this we have studied in the last session also. Spec is equal to W of theta, angle of incidence, and the cos phi cos phi ns. Here I means the light intensity, whatever light is falling on that. Phi means the angle, the viewing angle with respect to the specular reflection. So you know that from this image, from this image, you can know that um, as theta becomes 90, as theta becomes 90, so W of theta will be 1. So what it tells means um, whatever light falls at that angle, all the lights will get reflected. So this is true in case of glass, this is true in case of gold, and this is true in case of silver. but for some uh, but for some materials like some opaque materials, some part of the light will be reflected. So some part of the light will be reflected, and some part of the light will be absorbed. This also you should consider, because in the nature of the material also um, you should consider. And also the specular reflection will be always constant, so this will be almost constant for all the incident angles in case of this opaque materials. So because of this property, you can replace this W of theta with a constant called specular reflection coefficient. You can replace this W of theta with a specular reflection coefficient, because because the specular reflection will be nearly constant for all the angle of incidence in case of opaque materials, or in most of the opaque materials. So you can replace this W of theta with Ks. So the value of this Ks will be from 0 to 1. So the value of the Ks will be 0 to 1. So this is regarding the Ks. This is regarding the Ks. And also, you know that cos phi. So cos phi means it is angle between cos phi is the angle between R and V. So cos phi is the angle between R and V. So even V and R are the unit vectors. So V means from the unit with respect to the viewer, and R means the specular reflection direction. So you can, instead of this cos phi can be calculated as the dot product of V and R. V and R. Um, so this cos phi can be replaced with the dot product of V and R. And also if V and R, and also one more point is, if V and um, L are on the if V and L are on the same side of the normal vector, no specular effects will be generated. Or if the light source is behind the surface. So assuming all these properties, you can refine this equation. You can refine this equation to I spec. I spec is equal to W will be replaced with Ks I into V dot R with the specular coefficient if VR is greater than 0, and n into L is greater than 0. N into L is greater than 0. Otherwise, in other cases, if V dot R is less than 0 and n dot L is less than or equal to 0, in other cases, the value of I spec will be 0. So this is how the equation this is how the equation can be refined. And and um, the next equations, like similarly, from this image you can see, from this image this vector r can be computed. So for here, the direction of this the direction for this vector r can be computed from using this n and uh, l. So using this l and n, the direction for this vector r can be computed. Um, and also the projection of this l, and also the projection of this, and also the projection of this L on the normal vector can also be calculated as the dot product of n into L. So from this image, you can get a equation as r plus L is equal to 2 times the normal vector into L into n. On further refining, you will get the value of r as so just moving this L to the right hand side, 2n dot L into n minus L. So this is the equation. So similarly, you can calculate V on the surface position and the viewing position um, by the equations which we have studied. Like position. Yesterday we studied one formula. So using that formula, like source minus surface, the distance, like p source minus p surface by the magnitude of that. Using the same formula, you can calculate. Similarly, you can also calculate um, the values. Also, you can calculate the values with respect to h, where the final formula will be h is equal to L plus V by modulus of L plus V. So let's say like this, you can calculate the values for this specular reflection. So this is regarding the specular reflection. So here the main thing is you should derive this equation. You should know that what is how to derive this equation, and the effect of ns on this reflection angle. So this is regarding um, the specular reflection model, or we'll call it as the Phong model. Any doubts there? Any doubts with respect to that? Any doubts? Any doubts? Okay. So this color model is also very important in this. We have RGB color model and CMY color model. So those two are the very, very important color models from the examination point of view. So you can check the previous year question paper also. So those questions is getting repeated. So now we will talk about this color model. So till now we know about only one thing. So when we are setting the background color and all, so we were using some component called RGB component, and some opacity value where it is given by alpha. So alpha will be in the range of 0 to 1. So till now we have studied only regarding RGB components. So where this RGB component is used means this RGB component is used in the display monitors. Okay, so now other than RGB model, you also need some other color models which are useful in graphical application. See, sometimes the RGB model is not suitable for for some applications like printers. For some applications like printers and plotters, you need other other color models, and also in transmitting and storing the color informations, so you need another color model. So till now we have studied only about the RGB model. So in this module we will talk about the other color models that are there. So first thing is properties of light. So I told you that in the yesterday's class itself, light is a electromagnetic wave. So it's an electromagnetic wave. So light exhibit different characteristics. So you can call the light as the radiant energy. So when you look into the light from the physics point of view, you know that it is an electromagnetic spectrum. So light is an electromagnetic spectrum. So we have radio waves, we have microwaves, we have X-rays, we have ultraviolet rays, we have infrared rays, but we're able to see only the light or the colors in this region. So what the human eye perceives is the range of colors inside the visible region or within the visible region, and some of the colors are near the borders of the visible region. So from the physics point of view, color is a electromagnetic. You know that light is electromagnetic radiation. The same way, color is also electromagnetic radiation, which is having some frequency, which is having some frequency. So based on this frequency, we can categorize this as radio waves, microwaves, infrared waves, visible waves, ultraviolet visible rays, ultraviolet rays, X-rays. So you can calculate, you can distinguish them. So each of this. So for example, this radio wave is in the range of AM. Radio waves is in the range to the power of 10 power 6 hertz. So this visible frequency is in between 10 power 14 hertz to 10 power 15 hertz, like this. So they have their own specific frequency. So uh, visible region will have some frequency. So this each frequency value within the visible region of this spectrum will correspond to a special color, or distinct spectral color. So you know that visible region is made up of this visible light is made up of 7 colors, Vibgyor. So violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So violet will have some frequency, violet will have some frequency, red will have some frequency, like that. So based on the frequency only, you will decide whether the color is red or violet. The same way. So if the frequency is very low, at the low frequency end of 3.8 into 10 power, this is just a numerical value. If it is 3.8 into 10 power, 3.8 into 10 power 14 means it is a low frequency which is corresponding to red color. And if it is high frequency means 7.9 into 10 power 14. So this is low frequency red color, high frequency violet color. So this is how the color is identified. So each frequency value within the visible region of this spectrum will correspond to a different spectral code. So at the low frequency we have a red color, and at the high frequency we have at the lower end of the frequency we have red color, and at the higher end of the frequency we have violet color. So some sample ranges, 3.8 corresponds to red color, and 7.9 corresponds to violet color. In between these frequency range we have other colors like indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange. So the human eye is sensitive to only these frequencies, and some part of UV and infrared can also be like the human eye can sense that also. Only the border part of that region. So um, this is regarding um, the electromagnetic spectrum. So if you take if so so this electromagnetic spectrum can be represented as a wave model. So wave model. So light can be described as an oscillating wave. So oscillating traverse electric and magnetic fields which are propagating in space. So those two will always be perpendicular to each other. The electric wave and the electric field and the magnetic field will always be perpendicular to each other, and also to the propagation of the direction also. So in the wave model of this electromagnetic radiation, you can describe light as the oscillating traverse electric and magnetic fields which are propagating through the space. So the electric fields and magnetic fields are oscillating in the direction which are perpendicular to each other, and also to the direction of propagation. So the rate of this oscillation of the field magnitude is given by frequency. The rate of this oscillation of this field magnitude is given by the frequency. So mm, now this is governed by frequency, and the time between any two consecutive positions on the wave which has the same frequency, which have the same amplitude, we will call it as the time period. So um, we know that the rate of oscillation of the magnetic field is governed by frequency, and the time between two consecutive positions on the wave that have the same amplitude, we will call it as the period of that wave. which is the inverse of frequency, which is the inverse of frequency. This is the time period, or this will call it as a period, and this is the frequency. So how these two are related means t is inversely proportional to the frequency. It is inversely proportional to the frequency. Um, and and we have one more term, and the distance that the wave has traveled from beginning of one oscillation to the beginning of next oscillation, we will call it as wavelength, which is represented by lambda. So we know the general formula: c is equal to lambda into f, where c is the speed of the light, speed of the light. So this wavelength and frequency are also inversely proportional to each other. So these are some of the basics from the physics point of view. You know that the c means speed of the light, which is 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. So sometimes sometimes usually this wavelengths they are representing in terms of sorry, these colors are they are represented in terms of wavelength. In units of angstrom, they'll call it as angstrom units. So some like for example, light at low frequency is given by the red light. So for this frequency, they will call it as 780 angstrom, or like 780 nanometers, like that. So they will represent in terms of nanometer. They'll represent it in terms of angstrom. So angstrom means it's in unit. It's in unit to provide the range for this colors. So you can just look into that also. So we know that 1 angstrom is equal to 10 power minus 8 centimeters. So that is the unit for this. Um, so you can represent this waves in terms of angstrom also. So this is just regarding the representation, or you can represent it in terms of frequency also. A light source such as the uh, a light sources like sun, a light sources like sun or bulb will emit the lights in all the directions. So how we perceive the color? So how we perceive the color means, for example, a light from the sun or from the bulb, it will emit the frequencies which are there within the visible range to produce a light. So when this white light is incident on some object, some frequency will be reflected and some will be observed. So what light we will get means the combination of the frequencies that are present in the reflected light will decide what color we are seeing. For example, if the lower frequency is predominant in the reflected light means lower frequency corresponds to red light. If the higher frequency is predominant in the reflected light means we will be seeing violet color. So this we will call it as the dominating frequency. So the dominating frequency is also called as the shade, or simply the color of the light. So for example, we have some sun. So this is a sun. So light is coming on this and it is falling on that object. It is falling on some object. So it is falling on some object. So some part of the light will be observed, some frequency will be observed, and some frequency will be reflected. So mm, some is getting observed and some is getting reflected. No. So when it is getting reflected means it will have a combination of reflected frequency. It will have a combination of reflected frequency. It will have a combination of reflected frequency. So that combination of reflected frequency will determine what color we are seeing. So if this combination of reflected frequency is having at the lower end of the spectrum, if it is having a lower frequency, if lower frequencies are more in this combination, we will be seeing this range, the the red band. So if this combination is having the higher frequency, if this combination of this reflection range is having um, the higher frequency. Like the higher frequency is dominant means we will be seeing the violet color. So that is how the human will perceive. That is how we are perceiving the color. So here the dominating frequency, um, whatever we have the dominating frequency, if the dominating frequency is of lower frequency, red color. If the dominating frequency is of higher frequency, we'll be seeing the violet color. So this dominating frequency is known as the shade or the U. uh, so this I'll spell it as HUE. So the dominating frequency U or the shade will um, be the color of the light. So this will be the color of the light. So now you can see here the same thing. The image is here. So you can see. So for the life, this is the energy distribution for the white light. So this is the energy distribution for the white light. So see the white light. This is the energy distribution. So this when it is incident on some object. See the dominating frequency. The dominating frequency is in this part. So the color corresponding to this will be visible. So violet, indigo, blue, green, or like some orange color might be visible. So whatever is the dominating frequency, the color corresponding to the dominating frequency will be visible for the user. So what are the characteristics of the color? See, um, other than this frequency, our eyes will respond to the colors. So one thing is the other characteristics of this light, other than frequencies. One thing is brightness. Brightness means the total energy. The brightness means it is the total light energy, which you can also call it as the luminance of the light. So brightness means the total light energy, which you can call it as the luminance of the light. The other than brightness, we have purity. Purity means how close the light appears to be a pure color, such as red, violet, blue, uh, like that. So purity means how close the light appears to be a pure color. It's a pure red color, it's a pure orange color, pure yellow color, pure green color. So like that. So the purity of the color. For example, very very light, you will call it as a light red or a pale red. So all these things have very low purity, because that red is mixed with some other color component, because of which you're not having the true color. So that you can call it as a very low purity color. Like it is very light. It is like, for example, if the red is very light means, um, it is very light means, so it is not of a pure color. So a simple example can be like, second. So the pure red color will have some frequency. If you are adding white color to that red color, so what you will get is the light, the light, the lighter version of the red color. So that is not that is not the pure color. So you can check the combinations also. So this is like a dark. So this will be the dark red. So in this, if you just go to the other color combination. So this is not the pure one. So or in the paint also, if you're trying to add some color, so if you're diluting that color, if you're adding some white color, or if you're adding some dark color, so that is not the pure one. So um, it is having the lower purity. So this is regarding the second thing. So purity, the second one, property, the psychological properties of this color will be the purity. And the last one is chromaticity. So what is this chromaticity means? uh, it is it is a collection of purity and frequency. It is the collection of chromaticity means it's a collection of purity and the dominating frequency. The dominating frequency, will call it as the shade or the hue. So it is the combination. It is the combination of that, which we will call it as the chromaticity. So these are the psychological um, characteristics of the color. S- So next is the primary color and primary color model. So before that, we'll just check this. Um, we'll just check this image. So we'll just check what is there in this image. So this is the radiation. So this is the radiation emitted by a white light source. So when some object is emitting the white light source, so this is the energy distribution that is there. So you can see this white light is represented in terms of VIB-Gauss. So all the combinations of violet, indigo, blue, green, orange, red, which is uniform. So it is uniform. So this distribution corresponds to um, the white color. So here they're almost equal. See here, you can see that from from the red component to violet component, each frequency component within this range from the red to violet are like they're contributing equally to the total energy. So that's why you're getting the white light. So all the lights are mixed, or all the lights have contributed, all the colors have contributed uniformly. So that's why you're getting the color combination. But when this is why you'll get a white light, or the white light is represented like this. But um, but when the dominating frequency is present, the energy distribution for that source will be different. So this is the dominating frequency here. So this is the dominating frequency here. So in this scenario, you will not get the white light. You will not get the white light. So it will be like, since it is closer to red region, so you might get the colors closer to red, or then the next to the red is the orange one. So this the next image you cannot, since here the dominating frequency is there, so this will not produce the white light. So this will produce some other light. So here, if it was like this, so if there was no if it was like this, means you would have got the white light. You would have got the white light only if it was like this, means if this part was not present, means since this part is present, so this is the dominating frequency here. So this is the dominating frequency here. Since it is a dominating frequency, so we can get something like the color which is close to red, close to red, or some other color next to the red, which is having a very high level of purity. So you can see that the energy density of this uh, dominant light component is called as ED. This is corresponding to ED. So what is ED means? The energy density of the dominant light component. Why? Because only this part is dominating. So this part is um, see, this part is dominating here. This part is dominating, and you see all other components are having the same contribution. So this part is dominating. So we'll call that as um the energy density of dominant component. And uh, and for the other contributions, for the lower part, it is producing white light. So you can see that from this. So it is all, everyone are contributing equally. So this EW means it is the energy component which is contributing the white energy, the energy density corresponding to the white light energy. So mm so what we can do means, so here ED means it is the one which is having dominant frequency. It is the one which is having dominant light component, and EW means it's a white light energy density. So from this you can calculate the brightness of the source as the area under the curve, which will give you the um, total energy density emitted. And also the purity can be calculated as the difference between ED and EW. So if you want to calculate purity, means purity can be calculated by the difference between ED minus EW. And and the brightness, you can calculate the brightness of the source as the area under the curve. So as the area under the curve, you can calculate the brightness, and you can calculate the purity as the difference between. You can calculate the purity as the difference between ED and EW. So if you are having the value of this ED as larger when compared to the white light, higher the purity. So higher the value of ED corresponds to the higher purity of the light. So you will get 100% purity when EW is 0. When EW is 0, you will get 100% purity. Um, so this is regarding the characteristics of color. So in the next class, we'll talk about the color models. So the continuation of this color model, we have two color model. One is a primary color model, and the other one is intuitive color model. So after that, we'll talk about the RGB color model, CMY color model, and how to translate from how to convert from one color model to another color model. Okay, I'll just stop the class now. The remaining we'll see in the subsequent sessions. And regarding this